Hi everyone! Today I am going to do another art style challenge. I like to do this because I feel like I learn a lot from looking at and mimicking other artists' styles. And you guys have requested that I do more art style challenges. And so, once again, here we are. But before I jump in with both feet, I'd like to remind you guys of Skillshare. That's right, they have kindly sponsored this art style challenge and I am really happy to continue to collaborate with them as well. Skillshare is an online learning platform with no less than thousands of classes on art, design, animation, business, writing, lifestyle, and there is so much more. With a Skillshare Premium membership, you get access to all of their classes, class resources, and workshops as well. You can submit your own projects to classes you've taken, or you can check out and stalk on other projects done by other students. You can save your classes down into custom playlists of topics or maybe even a month where you want to learn something specific, like I did for November this year, where I want to learn a lot about creative writing. Skillshare also has an app that syncs to your profile so that you can learn on the go wherever you are. And you can try out Skillshare for yourself. I'm offering you 2 months of free premium trial on Skillshare. All you gotta do is follow the link in the description to claim your trial and start learning today. So a big thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video, and without further ado, let's get started with the art style challenge. In this video I have chosen 8 other artists on YouTube whose style I'm going to try to recreate with my own character. The first drawing here is in my own style, obviously. The character is Éloen, the same character I recently drew as part of a Draw This Again challenge. She is one of my oldest OCs that I still draw, and her key features were always her white hair, her yellow eyes, and the pointy ears. I want to immediately admit that this art style challenge was so much more challenging than the previous one I did, where I redrew my character Diabolosa into iconic art styles. Some of the artists that I chose for this video are most known for their traditional art, and even though they also do digital art, their most recognizable feature shines through in their traditional pieces. Since I'm primarily a digital artist, I wanted to do this digitally, so what I've tried to do, to the best of my abilities, is to create their digital art style, but also taking into account what makes their traditional style so unique. Boy, another thing that made this challenge so much harder was the fact that these artists are not following a strict design sheet, as you would expect from iconic art styles shown in TV shows and the like. These artists experiment and develop their style over time, so there are always some slight inconsistencies in their work, where I have just done my best to try and guess which features to include and which not to. And as an extra little piece of info, I want to add that I've chosen to borrow these artists' art styles out of respect for their work. The way I'm going to talk about their styles in the remainder of this video is with the intentions to break it down into pieces that I can interpret and put into my own drawing. I'm not at any point stating something about their styles meant in a critical way or with a critical perspective. All I do is to try to make it easier for me to recreate their features and give you an insight into my thought process of doing so. And if you're interested in seeing the real-time drawing of my style of Éloen, it will be available as part of the November rewards on my Patreon. You just gotta sign up before November 1st to get the rewards that this video will be included in. Anyway, I am getting finished with my own style here, so it's time to move on to the first YouTuber, who is LavenderTowne. LavenderTowne has a really unique and cutesy style. I don't think I have seen anything the like anywhere else, and I thought it was so recognizable that I simply had to include it. In this challenge, I am not going to spend time considering how my character Éloen would fit into these artist universes, because all I'm trying to do is try to insert her into their visual style. It makes more sense this way compared to the last challenge I did, because not all of these artists has an overall story, like for instance LavenderTowne has a comic with characters and a story. Some of the key features I noticed from LavenderTowne's style was the black outline, the big eyes, and the often odd pupils. I mean, these are just some of the aspects. I mean, obviously there's a lot more. I think she uses some really cute color schemes and has some relatively simple shading. She often shapes some of her highlights as little hearts on her character from her comic Unfamiliar, and I also decided to include little parts of line shading that she does on her character's hair as well. I think Éloen looks pretty cute in LavenderTowne style. The next YouTube artist is Jacqueline de Leon. This is definitely an artist who is really known for their traditional pieces. And really no wonder, because her techniques are amazing. Her traditional features almost transfers directly to her digital pieces, with the exception being the line art, I think. Some of the key features I noticed were the often very visible cheekbones, the head shape, which is very much shaped like an egg, and the upper parts of the eyes, and of course the tattoos that her character often has. I went for a shading from some of her digital pieces that really adopts her traditional style well. The reference drawing with the pink hair that you see once in a while is actually a little unlike her other digital pieces, but it really shows how gorgeous her digital hair is drawn. On Jacqueline's digital pieces, I feel like I see a lot of black line art. And I did see colored line art as well, but in general I think she used more clean black line art, so I decided to stick with that look and not color the lines of Éloen's hair. The shading I think was really tricky, because it's very different from my own style, but I feel like I got a really nice insight into Jacqueline's process drawing this one. Next up is Re-A. I actually discovered this artist quite recently, but I really adore this style. It looks pretty simple, but there are especially some inking shading techniques here that really requires some attention to recreate. Ree's coloring also looks simple, but put together with the way that the line art and the black shading frames the character, it gives a very traditional look to Ree's digital pieces. Ree also does traditional pieces, but manages to streamline the traditional and digital styles so well that there's practically no difference, which I think is really hard to pull off. Besides the iconic faces, I think Ree's shape language is one of the key features to the style. So I decided to go for the rectangular soft head shape for Éloen, which Ree uses a lot, and overall use simple shapes for the rest of the design. The colors are kept with flats, leaving the shading to the line work itself. And with a little rough spray of red on her cheeks, I am done with Ree's style. Next artist is Danica. I actually think that Danica's channel is one of the first art channels that I started following. It's a long time ago. She has a very unique style, which seems to be very inspired by themes like dark fantasy, vampires, zombies, and all of this mixed with bright colors together with clean black areas. I found that her style was really hard to recreate, probably the hardest, because Danica is also an evolving artist whose style evolved over time. She is mostly known for her traditional watercolor art, and she also somehow manages to transfer the general look of her traditional pieces onto her digital pieces, which is indeed lucky for me right now. However, I still had a really hard time, I must admit. Danica has a way of drawing her female characters pretty masculine, but you're still never really in doubt about their gender. I felt like my Éloen looked a bit too masculine at times, but hopefully when you see the final result you can easily see that she's indeed a female character. Danica relies a lot on her line work, and it always looks incredibly detailed and refined. She adds a lot of details using the line art, especially to the hair. It took me so long to draw out the hair, and I still think Danica's hair look way better. Another key feature of her art is her washes. In her watercolor pieces she does a lot of color washes. She has transferred that into her digital pieces by using gradients. And I'm doing the same for Éloen's hair. I think maybe my character Éloen should have had blue, purple or even pink skin to even better reflect Danica's style, because these are skin colors that she very often works with. But I also want to stay true to my character, so I hope you still like this entry despite of this little deviation. The next YouTuber's art style we're going to recreate is Draw with Jazza. This might be the one entry I am most conflicted about. Either I did good and actually created something that reflects his style, or I completely missed. That's what I feel like. I can't really tell. Jazza doesn't really draw a lot of female characters, but I did manage to find some references from some of his older videos. Some things I realized about Jazza's style is that it portrays very anatomical. I can't say the word. It portrays very anatomical correct characters. At least when he doesn't draw this very stylized cartoon characters like his avatar, but even then I think it also takes correct anatomy into account. I think it shows. Jazza's female characters remind me of classic Marvel and DC women somehow, and they're also pretty masculine with wide shoulders and sharp-edged faces. His shading is also very different depending on the medium he uses, but I decided to try and shade after one of his digital characters. I think I dulled the colors too much though, so on the final version in the end of the video I have added some warmer tones to my drawing. I don't know guys, is this a hit or miss? Or maybe something in between? Maybe I should have just drawn Éloen as his avatar. Okay, so next up is Baylee J. I was actually in doubt whether I should include Baylee or not, because she is one of those artists I feel like try out new things and styles all the time. So I was unsure if I could find consistency enough to recreate her style. But in her most recent pieces I actually see a lot of consistency in her work, so I thought, why the heck not? I decided to try to fuse her digital coloring of her bust set piece with the line art and overall look of her recent traditional pieces. She has some really cute faces going on and I really dig that. What I gathered from her coloring technique in the bust set piece was a mix of gradients and cel shading. These two often go really well together because gradients are soft while cel shaded areas appear sharp, so there's a good contrast there. I feel like I missed a bit of the style in the line work, where in Baylee's piece the lines look more uniform, whereas in mine I may have varied them just a bit too much. Anyway, the next artist is Amy Wright Meow. Also a challenge that I actually found quite recently, but that I really enjoyed. I think Amy has a really fun way to tell stories, and her illustrations to go with the tales are just super charming. For the line art I went looking for an ink brush with a lot of texture in it, because it looks like Amy's line art was created with traditional pen and ink. I ended up using a brush from Carl's manga brush set, which is free, just have to Google it, and it's called Basic Rough. The colors she used for her characters are pretty muted and shaded with a little bit of gradient. In some of Amy's illustrations of herself there is actually a double gradient in her hair, which I tried to mimic on Éloen. I don't think I nailed the head shape entirely, but overall I really enjoyed portraying Éloen in this style. And lastly we have Jayden animations. I just wanted to finish with something less terrifying but very iconic and recognizable. I decided to add a bit of shading as portrayed in Jayden's profile picture on the channel. I feel like I couldn't really portray Éloen's uniqueness onto this style because Jayden's style is so unified, and half of her style is actually how she uses these illustrations to tell a story and not the characters alone. At least that's my personal opinion. So take this last one for what it is. It's probably more a tribute than a challenge. Anyway, that was it for this challenge. Here is my style with the other 8 YouTubers' art styles that I borrowed. I hope you liked the outcome, and I definitely challenge you guys to try to do the same. It's so much fun, first of all, and you'll learn so much from breaking down styles like this. Remember to use the link below to claim your 2 free months of Skillshare Premium, and if you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. It really helps me out a lot. Subscribe to my channel for more wacky art content in the future, and until next time guys, take care. Bye!